Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my USW Wednesday Night Intensity. February. I'm gonna have to redo the title because it's February 1st. Wait, no, today is Friday. February 1st, 2017 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. Today is my review. Obviously, this is Coca-Cola. This is not beer. Don't worry. No need to call authorities. And you can tell, new background, obviously. This will be the background that we see when I am in studio number 2. Thank you. I usually, when I sneeze, I go, bless you, thank you, you're welcome, whatever. This will be the background we have when we are in studio number 2, the studio in Waterbury. When we're in the studio in Bridgeport, we're calling that studio number 1. That will be the obvious regular background. But I have a reason for why I haven't gotten the intensity review out until Friday. Let me explain. I left the power cord to the laptop here, so I could not stream very long, which is why I was only able to get an Insanity review out yesterday. And I finished it right before the power ended up going out on this laptop. So, due to time constraints, didn't really have much ability to properly make an intensity review. Now I'm making an intensity review. I don't know if I'm getting sick or something like that, or if I'm getting like a cold or whatever. If that's the case, I already got one like a month ago, so don't need another one. So yeah, almost toppled over the Coke. Yeah. So there's that. Let me just retitle it. I just want to retitle the review. Two 117. Okay. Changes are saved. All right. So that being said, we can get into the review now. Intensity this week actually wasn't bad at all. I like how they implemented different varieties of performers we don't see very often on intensity. I'm sorry, I'm talking out of my ass. I liked how they kind of tried to implement as many people as they could. Majagetta and Derek Carter got airtime. Washington and Ash got airtime. Excuse me. Weiler and Darren Holt got airtime. Morgan Anthony got airtime. Excuse me. Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin got airtime. Mercury and Jefferson got airtime. Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey got airtime. Moore and Xavier King got airtime. Philip Akron and Samuel North got airtime. Fucking Marcus Felton and Brandon Redding, the goddamn commentators, got airtime. Majagetta and Derek Carter, as I said, got ring to airtime, and they got the main event as well. Overall, it was a great job of implementing as many people as you can 2 weeks before your next pay-per-view. So props to Intensity for that. So we'll get into the opening segment. Majagetta returns to a huge pop. His music hits, goes ballistic. He's been gone since like the end of like November, like early December. I think it was like a week like that. The first Intensity after Bulletproof. He's been gone since then. I forgot what the reason for why he went off screen or what they did kayfabe wise to allow him off time, but he's back. And he came back to a massive pop, and he walks out as the winner of the Insanity match with an opportunity to fight for any championship on either intensity or severity, giving him the choice to make. So he talks about pretty much the opportunity of taking whatever title he wants. It doesn't necessarily have to be the USW Championship. It could be the Blue Belt Championship or the Red Belt Championship. It could be the USW Tag Team Championships. Hell, it could be the World Heavyweight Championship or the International Championship or the Global Championship or the USW or no, the World Tag Team Championships. Any title on severity or intensity, he could take an advantage of whatever and walk out champion at the end of Call to Greatness 12. He's then interrupted by USW champion Derek Carter, who tells Majagetta that no matter who he ends up choosing to fight against, Carter's not going to walk out of Call to Greatness 12 without the USW title. Majagetta gets into a verbal spew off with Carter, and then recognizing the people, bantering to them, kind of solidifying a face turn. So Majagetta, obviously a face. And Kyle Reese Jr. walks out, makes the main event a nice show. Majagetta versus Derek Carter, which leads me to believe that Majagetta is going to end up challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, which I think is a great idea overall. I would like more for Majagetta to win the USW Championship, become a mainstay on Intensity, but at the same time, Majagetta just fits so well with the World Heavyweight Championship. Like, you think of the big three in USW today: Derek Carter, Cannon, and Majagetta. You think of the big three in USW when it started until, like, I don't know, 2015, 2016. It was Zach Hardy, Cannon, Majagetta. And now it's the same thing as it was before. Majagetta was always the third guy in the top three. And nobody else was gunning for the world title. Cannon and Zach Hardy back then were gunning for the USW Championship, and then Derek Carter and Zach Hardy gunned for the USW Championship. Then Cannon and Derek Carter gunned for the USW Championship, and Majagetta did as well. But Majagetta's goal was on the World Championship, while everybody else's was on the USW Championship. So he was looking for the other World Championship, and he became such a mainstay in that championship picture that he kind of felt like a natural. And I like the idea of him reverting back to the World Championship picture because it gives him a sense of character. It gives him a sense of loyalty to one title and to one brand. It's not like he wants the big title. He wants the title he wants, not what the company wants, not what the fans want. It's the title that he wants. He's going to take advantage of his opportunity, not let the fans or the suits or the other guys in the back be what it is. He's going to make his opportunity. I like that. Of course, we don't know yet whether he's going to go for the world title. It seems set in stone, especially now that he's facing the USW champion in the main event of the show, out of all other times. But, still, I mean, I don't know. USW can do whatever the fuck they want. They can decide to do whatever. And they can end up throwing a curveball at you and saying, hey, Majagetta is going to challenge for the USW Championship. Who knows? I like the idea of a possible World Championship run and severity turn with Majagetta. I think it'll happen, and especially with what happens in the night. But let's just get on with it. We get into a segment backstage, Rose Lyons' interview with the red belt champion Weiler about his return from injury when he has a match tonight. So Weiler gets a match tonight, and he returns from an injury. I think it was a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. Because he had crutches in his hands. He didn't have a knee brace on or anything like that, so it was more than likely a knee injury or something. Talks in the regular way Weiler would. It's the whole cryptic kind of misanthrope kind of promo. Pretty much just talking about how he's not going to let the injury affect him. He's going to reap or everybody's going to reap what they sow, whatever. We get into the first match on the card. Yeah, we get into the first match on the card. Is the number one contenders match for the USW Championship at Chaos Theory. It's Washington versus Ash. Now, this was a very, very good match. I like what both performers were doing. They kind of went away from, like, Washington's like that tweener kind of turning into a face, and Ash is that face that's got tweener tendencies. But I like how they both kind of showed desperation at one point, kind of showing that they're going to do whatever it takes to win the match. They're going to do whatever it takes to get a USW championship match. And in the end, Washington ends up beating Ash. So Washington gets the win. Washington will face Derek Carter at Chaos Theory for the USW championship. And afterwards, Washington gets on a mic, pretty much vows to give the crowd the champion that they deserve, and tells them that Derek Carter, while he has been a fighting champion, he is not for them. Washington can be a fighting champion that is for the crowd, and blah blah blah. trying to get them on his side. So establishing a face versus heel kind of run like with what they did with Derek Carter and Ash. We get into a promo, an in-ring promo with Alexander Rotten. Walks out, talks about Cannon being the reason for why he didn't win the Insanity match this past Sunday. He lasted so long, and then he got thrown out by Cannon, cost him his run. Cannon walks out, tells Rotten it wasn't his fault, that he got a better entry number than him. Pisses off Rotten. Cannon challenges Rotten to a match at Chaos Theory, which is kind of like an attempt at giving Alexander Rotten an opportunity to avenge his loss. So pretty much just setting up a match for 2 weeks between Cannon and Alexander Rotten, like we have been expecting over the past like 3 or 4 weeks. Actually, like probably like 3 to 5 weeks. It's been a It's been a while since this whole kind of like minor feud started with them between or involving the Insanity match. And now that it's over, everybody's expecting that singles match, so they're going to get that singles match, or the singles match they've been expecting. I don't have a problem with that. Sorry. I don't have a problem with Cannon and Alexander Rotten in this singles feud. I like the idea. Let me rephrase that. I really enjoy the idea of Cannon, this veteran, and this guy who has proven to be one of, if not the top guys in USW history, most accomplished, most beloved, most able, most versatile, etc. I like the idea of Cannon, this veteran, and Alexander Rotten, this distinctive powerhouse who's looking to make his name in USW, even though he hasn't to this point. He's still got opportunities to do so. He's still one of the top guys on intensity. He wants to become that top guy on intensity. He wants to kind of solidify his name. He's proven his name. He wants to solidify his name now. And I like the idea of utilizing Cannon to help further Alexander Rotten. I think no matter who walks out of this feud with more wins than the other, I think that this feud will be best for both performers in the long run, as long as at least they both at least get a win under their belt. Because Alexander Rotten is just a very charismatic and driven heel. You kind of like him, but you mostly hate him. He's a powerhouse. He pushes his weight around. He bullies people in the ring. And you kind of hate that about him, but at the same time, you love the heel aspect of it. And then Cannon is this vouching, expressive, creative, strategic face that has been a veteran and knows his way around the ring and is utilizing his experience against his opponents. So they both have that character, that little piece, that personality piece about them that they can use to their advantage over their opponents. And it's kind of interesting to see which one, ends up winning in the end, whether it be the veteran instinct or the young powerhouse, the push weight, whether it's pushing the weight around or outthinking your opponent. I like the idea of which is the better characteristic to have. I think it's kind of interesting, and I think these are the two best guys you can have to do it. And I'm definitely most looking forward to the Cannon and Alexander Rotten match already. So with that being said, we get our second match on the night, and it is Weiler, the red belt champion. I still kind of miss saying the Extreme champion. But the red belt champion, Weiler, beating Darren Holt. This is a squash match. Obviously, USW has guys that they put down to jobber status before they kind of get a push. Darren Holt probably is one of the best jobbers to have a mid-card run, I must say, because Darren Holt can do shit in the ring. He's put on good matches before at jobber status. This was a good 10-minute match, and it was just used to put over Weiler. Darren Holt is a very intriguing young individual and with a promising upstart career. I'm kind of liking to see what happens after he's out of jobber status and when he is in that championship picture. But for now, I guess we're just going to have to be left to wait. So Weiler picks up the win over Darren Holt. More of a back and forth match than you would expect out of a jobber match. So I think this is where the Darren Holt push kind of begins. And afterwards, Morgan Anthony ends up running out and attacks Weiler after the match before hitting him with the brain buster and walking away. So it looks like Morgan Anthony's gone from the blue belt championship picture to the red belt championship picture. So Weiler and Morgan Anthony is more than likely going to take place at USW Chaos Theory in 2 weeks, or in less than 2 weeks. I'm not happy about that because I still don't think Morgan Anthony is ready for a championship run. I think he could get some interesting undercard feuds with like fucking maybe Darren Holt if he gets out of jobber status. Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole if they weren't in jobber status. Maybe Mercury and out of the tag team. Maybe Mercury and Jefferson if they weren't out of if they were out of jobber status. Maybe you got a feud with Washington or maybe a Majagetta feud. That would be interesting. I think you need some experience for Morgan Anthony to get involved in that championship picture because he's not ready yet. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. We get into our third match of the night, which is Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin versus Mercury and Jefferson. They pick up the win. It's pretty much a squash match. Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin continue to, move up the ladder. I guess this storyline is kind of them beating these tag teams until they get to a point where they can contend for the tag team championships. The Intensity tag team division is kind of dry. You have Amor and Xavier King, who are kind of setting up to be a promising tag team. You have Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey. You have Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin. But besides that, you don't really have anybody else. Mercury and Jefferson are a jobber tag team. Yeah, so it's kind of running a bit thin. I think they are bringing in. I've heard rumors of USW trying to bring in one of these indie tag teams at Chaos Theory to face Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin, which I wouldn't be surprised about with the outcome of the past couple of weeks. They've been beating Mercury and Jefferson a couple times and other jobber tag teams, kind of just trying to move up the ladder. So I think a storyline could be in place very soon where they have this other tag team that is ready to face them and kind of prove how strong of a tag team they are and how able they are, kind of make an effort to get them into the tag team championship picture again, whatever. So that should be interesting. After that match, we have a segment backstage where Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey are seen assaulting Amor and Xavier King, and then they're being taken off by like a bunch of extras from the locker room. So I think James and Dwayne Porter were there. I think Alexander Rotten was there. I'm not sure. There was some dude in a t-shirt and skinny jeans. If I'm not mistaken, I think that could have been one of the guys they just signed. I think his name is Tyreek Carver, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a picture of him, and I saw the new name they gave him. So I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, they had a bunch of guys, like extras from the locker room, pulling off Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey and having the doctors check on Amor and Xavier King. So that was kind of an interesting little play on that. So we get into our fourth match. I know there are 5 matches, surprisingly. We get into our fourth match. It's Philip Akron beating the blue belt champion Samuel North clean. So Philip Akron, again, another talented guy who has been under the radar for so long, picks up a win over Samuel North, the blue belt champion, in a pretty good match. It was like 10 to 15 minutes. Philip Akron he's been off for a couple of weeks. He proved this past Wednesday night that he can actually carry a decent match. He definitely has improved in the ring. He's not using his powerhouse abilities as much as he is technical wrestling and grappling. And Philip Akron has kind of gone from like, and I always use the color system. He's always kind of seemed like he was a red. And now I think my color system is you think of a performer as a specific color, and whatever other colors can mix with that color is a capable feud. Morgan Anthony was kind of like a red before. Now he's kind of like a blue. I'm sorry, not Morgan Anthony. Philip Akron was like a red before. Now he's kind of like a blue. Um, so more technical and grappling. I like what's going on here with Philip Akron, and I like the fact that they're now going to try to start a blue belt championship feud between Sammy North and Philip Akron. I like where this is going. I think this is kind of interesting and intriguing. Next up, we have a promo segment. Marcus Felton and Brandon Redding, the commentators, announcing that at Chaos Theory, 2 matches, Weiler will defend the red belt championship against Morgan Anthony, and Samuel North will defend the blue belt championship against Philip Akron. And just to be clear, after Philip Akron won, they went to commercial. They came back to, by commercial, I mean advertising segments. And then they came back, and so they finalized Samuel North and Philip Akron at Chaos Theory for the blue belt championship, and Weiler and Morgan Anthony for the red belt championship at Chaos Theory. So it was interesting, and that was kind of cool. 5th match, main event time, Majagetta versus the USW champion Derek Carter. This was a really good match. 20 minutes. I believe it went on just under 20 minutes. It was mostly unexpected for me that the match was more powerhouse moves than anything else. I would have expected like a technical masterpiece, something like that, somewhat of a technical masterpiece, grappling, submission based, counters more often. It was like a powerhouse brawl. It was more of a brawl than a match. Punches were raining heavy, kicks were raining heavy. You could tell that they were putting whatever they could into making this main event something different. Majagetta ends up walking out with a win over Derek Carter. So the USW champion defeated for the first time in a while against Majagetta. And I must say, Intensity and Severity do a really great job at making their world champions and champions in general feel strong by giving them big wins or wins on Intensity and Severity, the weekly shows. And when they don't get a win, it's rare in between, and they keep them off TV for a little bit, unless it's promos. I like that. Majagetta wins clean and ends the show by pointing up at Derek Carter, who's like slithering up the ramp entranceway with the USW Championship. He's pointing at Derek Carter. He's pointing at the USW Championship, and the crowd's just ready to end the show. They're on a high note. They're cheering and shit. So show closes with Majagetta kind of delivering a point to Derek Carter, and that's where we leave off. So all in all, Intensity this week was really a lot better than most weeks. Last week's Intensity was awesome, and last week's Severity was awesome. Like, it was up in the air between which was better. This was a 3.5 out of 5-star Intensity. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was more well put together than most Intensities, and I think the storytelling, even for the minor characters like Darren Holt and Morgan Anthony, was a lot better than what Severity has even been doing. So, and especially for what US Intensity has been doing over the past couple of weeks. So with that being said, that does it for my review of the February 1st, 2017 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, and I'm signing off.